Time for Friday Night Heights on the SEC Network. Tonight in chilly Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we're inside Coleman Coliseum, set to go for third-ranked Alabama against number 22, Oregon State. And we're glad to welcome you inside Coleman Coliseum on this Friday night. Roger Hoover, pleased to be joined by a former national champion and Olympian, Luisa Blanco. And Luisa, it is the final week of January, so now's the time to find consistency for both the Crimson Tide and the Beavers.
Oh yeah, consistency is the name of the game. Last week, Alabama showed us just how good they really are if they hit their ceiling. Head coach Ashley Johnson told us that this week it's all about honing in, being resilient, and also being relentless in their pursuit of presence. We'll see if they can do it tonight.
A week ago, standout performances for the Crimson Tide, starting on bars with Chloe LaCourcier.
I mean, she has been a standout from day one, but this week she has been undeniable, so fearless, not just in her movements, but in that landing right there. Funny enough, she actually had a mental block, but no mental blocks anymore. She has really honed in on her process, and just incredible to see what she's been able to do week after week. Now, you can't talk about Alabama without mentioning Gabby Gladio. Snagged her first all-around title last week against Missouri and putting up another near-perfect performance. You know, she's been flirting with that 10 all season. I know she wants it, but she's really gonna hone in on those details and be present, just like Coach said.
These two of the best in the nation. LaCourcier leading the NCAA in bars, while Gladio is 5th in the NCAA so far this season in the all-around. Crimson Tide feeling good after last week's win against Missouri. The same can be said for Oregon State as the Beavers continue picking up momentum as they continue through the season. Last time out, it was impressive, beating number 23 Utah State, and that's why we see Oregon State check in at number 22 in the nation entering tonight.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Oregon State is they're coming off of 2 days of preparation. That is a quick turnaround. So, yes, you got to savor the win while you can, but it's that next second mentality, that growth mentality that head coach Tanya Champlin was telling us about. You know, you got to just remember the moment that you're in and know that you are prepared for this. You have the repetitions.
We're ready to go for rotation number 1. Alabama on the vault. Oregon State will be on the bars. And for the Crimson Tide, it all begins with Jasmine Colley. Had a 9.925 on the vault last week in her Coleman Coliseum debut, picking up her 3rd event title.
Going to be doing a Yurchenko 1.5, 10-0 start value. Very nice. I think when you come from having a stick last week, I mentioned this before, but she's been a little bit hot and cold, and just in talking with head coach Ashley Johnson this past week, it's all about just being unfazed. She said whether the results are good or bad, just taking the moment for what it is and executing when it matters.
To the bars for the first three. It will be Oregon State on bars. It will be Savannah Miller. Hits on all 12 of her routines so far this season.
Savannah's really a trailblazer for this team. Like, yes, she has a loud presence, but her gymnastics there is to back it up. Maloney up to the high bar. Some leg separation she's got to tighten up. You want to see full vertical on that handstand. Misses it just a little, but can make it up with this dismount right here. Double layout. Solid landing, a little bit of a scooch back, so won't be the perfect stick, but it's still going to be a great score to put the Beavs on a good track to start. Watch this double layout, does a really good job of keeping her legs squeezed, and just the minuscule scoot to the back.
Jordan Paradise next up on vault, upped her season-high vault score to a 9.875 last week against Mizzou.
I was watching Jordan warm up this vault, and she seems like clockwork. Like, she just is in go mode. Had a really nice landing. Let's see if she can put it to her feet. And that was almost identical to the warm up. It's good to see your practice translating into the competition floor. Do you want the stick? Obviously. But I think having a controlled landing and knowing what you're going to get every time is just as vital.
Haley Cheek, part of the bars and beam lineup each week to begin her freshman season at Oregon State.
I love the way that coach is talking her up there. It's funny because he's actually made quite the splash online. You know, it's a way to loosen the athletes, you know, build connection and lets the girls have fun in practice. I love to see it. What I really enjoy about this bar routine is just her lengthy lines. Very clean there on that Maloney to pack salto. So she's really taking her time with each skill, not rushing. Nice handstand. Would love her hips to be just tucked under a little bit more. But no problems on the dismount there, gets the stick. I think it's really important to have tempo on bars. It shows the judges that you're in control of your movements. And when you get the chainsaw, it's got to be a good sign.
One of the best celebrations in all of college sports.
Next on vault,
Jamison Sears ready to go on the vault for the Crimson Tide.
Jamison's also going to be doing another 10-0 start value vault. Something really interesting about this Alabama team is that, you know, they just keep getting better year after year. This is not, you know, a place where you come just to stay the same. And you can see it in this new vault that Jamison learned, the 1.5. She had a great Yurchenko full, but, you know, in talking with the coaches and wanting to step up her game, it's great to see the athletes, you know, raising their own standards, and it seems to be paying off here.
Sophia Esposito, this marks routine number 100 for her career. Hit rate of 96% during her time in Corvallis.
I mean, Coach had so much to say about Sophia's presence on this team, just as a leader, being such a clutch performer. Bars is one of her stronger events, so I'm excited to watch her here. Beautiful first handstand right on top of the bar, right immediately to the bail. This pencil straight on these vertical handstands, a little short on that 360, and a hop on the landing, but another solid score for the Beavs.
Jamison Sears with a 9.80 on the vault.
Ashley Johnston, the head coach of the Crimson Tide. This is alumni weekend here in Tuscaloosa. Of course, an outstanding career for her as a gymnast for the University of Alabama, now continuing to build up this program in her 4th year.
Alumni night is always so special, and Coach was just saying, you know, when the people who were here before you are here now, you want to make them proud. So I know that's what Gabby Gladio is wanting to do in this vault here.
One of the outstanding senior leaders of the Crimson Tide.
Look at the pop. Nice. Does a great job of, you know, taking a small hop there. Gabby's one of those athletes where, you know, power is a double-edged sword. You know, it can really help you at times, but be just as hurtful if you don't know how to, you know, harness your power. And she's really become a master at controlling those landings.
Taylor DeVries hasn't competed the last 2 weeks after starting the season competing in the Best of the West quad meet in Seattle.
Yeah, this Oregon State team, they've you know, been battling with some illness here and there, so it's a great opportunity for fresh faces, you know, like Taylor, to come in and just pick up right where, you know, somebody may have left off, and even make a statement in this lineup. Finishing dismount right here. Watch the hips. Nice. Drills the landing for a stick, which is what they want. Chest was a little bit low and missed that last handstand, but I just know that head coach Tanya Chaplin she's over the moon, because her athletes continue to show up, and, you know, when something new happens, when there's change is never going to stop coming, she says, but her athletes are responding incredibly well.
For the Crimson Tide, this is one of the young ladies that has maybe grown the most in her gymnastics over the past year, and that's Kylie Kwame.
She's a culture setter and, you know, an accountability partner, coach says, and it's, you know, for things like that, it wasn't the perfect vault, but you can tell that she's really trying to spot that landing or find that landing before her feet hit the ground. Probably going to be, you know, one of those turns that she's going to be watching all week to try to improve on, find the little details, and get the stick next time.
Oregon State, Cameron Richardson.
Now to a very consistent performer for Oregon State and Cameron Richardson. Outstanding work on the bars last week, a career high 9.925.
I think in just watching her in warm-ups, she does a really great job of, you know, embodying that growth mindset. You know, she's so young, but you can tell that when the judges salute her, she is locked in. Really nice height on that pack salto. Would really enjoy to see a little bit more strength through those toes. Point and show off that extension, but the dismount, it's an A+ for me. That stick was great, chest was up. Can't really ask for better. We'll get a good view on this full twisting double back. Her hips are above the bar, a little bit of a wobble, but she knew she had it.
Might be time for a new career high for Cameron Richardson. Azariah Akbar competing for the Crimson Tide on vault, continuing what's been a tremendous first month of her college career.
She's been tremendous, but it's all about getting out of her head. Had a little bit of a weird start. Let's see if she can have a better one here. Again, not what she's been practicing. But I think just adopting that unfazed mentality is what she needs to do, really focusing on the next second and what's to come. Because she's such a gorgeous athlete to watch, can't let the slip-ups start to add up.
Claudio's 9.875 still leading the way on vault for Alabama.
A big point of emphasis has been the start, and I think that's for both teams. You want to be able to start off hot. Gives you the momentum that you need. And at the end of the day, it's what you need to win.
It's Ellie Weaver on the bars, suffered a season-ending injury 4 meets into the 2024 season that limited her last season, but healthy, good to go this year.
Nice skinger. Don't see that release move often. She has a crisp handstand, meaning there's really nothing to take when she is vertical. Blindfold to the double back here. And another stick for the Beavs. They're finding these landings, athlete after athlete. Another replay here of this double back. Very nice, spots the landing before her feet hit the ground.
Chloe Coursier set for an exhibition on vault for the Crimson Tide. We'll definitely see her competing more as the night continues.
Yeah, I talked about her having a little bit of a mental block on bars, and I think that's been, you know, her Achilles heel, is just finding her own thoughts at times. She can be a gorgeous athlete. She's got to turn down the noise and just dial it in right here. Does a great job of putting it on her feet. Legs are still a little soft on the landing, so you can tell she's not fully confident, but that's what these exhibition spots are for, to relieve some of that pressure and get that competition rep.
Exhibition as well for Oregon State on bars. Sophia Kaludis set to compete.
Another big moment for Sophia, just because she wants to make a statement that she can be competitive in this lineup. Does a good job on the Maloney. I think a consistent theme I've been seeing is just the small separation of legs, not full extension of the toes. Those are the little things that will make a difference in the team score. But really great landing to finish it off. You can tell she's happy with that. Running this dismount back, that double layout, really great start. I'll tell you what, they're playing some kind of stick game in the gym, and it is paying off. They went back to back to back sticks, even through the exhibition. Really great to see how they carry that momentum to the next event.
Special for Oregon State to have Jade Carey now on the staff after an outstanding career at Oregon State. The Olympian in Tokyo and Paris is now a student assistant and part of the staff for Tanya Chaplin at Oregon State. And we're joined now by the head coach of the Beavers, Tanya Chaplin. And Coach, what'd you like, first of all, about Oregon State on bars? What else can fans expect from your team tonight?
Well, I like that we talked about having a foundation to build on from week to week, and they did that. They went after those sticks, and that was great to see. We still would like to get a couple more handstands there, but they're really going for it. So that is what I'm hoping that they'll carry out throughout the rest of the night, really going after each performance and making the most of it.
Coach, you're 100% right, pulling out those sticks. Now you're carrying that momentum to vault. What is the goal for this event right here?
Well, I think, again, just doing what they do, really nice clean in the air and getting those landings at the end.
Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Tanya Chaplin, the head coach at Oregon State. Time for another rotation. Rotation 1 in the books. Crimson Tide in front. Patterson Champions Plaza, recognizing so many championship teams at the University of Alabama, and for gymnastics, 6 national champions throughout the history of Alabama, including 1996. That was the program's 3rd national championship, and all of the members of the 96 team being recognized before the meet here tonight at Coleman Coliseum. Very special, especially because that 1996 national championship meet was held here back in 1996 as we take a trip back down memory lane.
And now, McAdams' first ball. There it is, though, a perfect 10 first of her career. Looks like she can't believe it. And a perfect 10 for Kim Kelly. They are the 1996 NCAA Women's Gymnastics Champions.
30 years later, they're back here inside of Coleman Coliseum, including Kim Kelly had a perfect 10 on the floor to win the national championship. Ashley Johnston was only 6 years old in Chicago, Illinois. Watching that on television, said Kim Kelly was her favorite. Now she gets to interact with her as part of the family here of Alabama Gymnastics.
What a full circle moment. I think just being an alum myself, carrying the spirit of what Alabama Gymnastics is. And, Ashley Johnston just coming in, keeping that alive, but also being so innovative and transformative at the same time, continuing to shift as the sport changes is, it's not an easy feat, and she does it so effortlessly. And like you said, it is a family reunion here, making everybody that came before us, all of the Alabama tradition and legacy, keeping it alive and making them proud.
Part of what makes Alabama Gymnastics special. When we come back, it'll be time for Rotation 2 between the Crimson Tide and the Oregon State Beavers. just slightly against Oregon State through one rotation. We saw the Crimson Tide's Gabby Gladio pick up what has tied a season high for her on vault with a 9.875 leading the way for Alabama.
Yeah, definitely not the start that Alabama was anticipating, but they are learning how to be present in these moments. And then Oregon State, on the other hand, starting off really strong.
Gianna Crabb trying to keep that going on vaults.
Chenko full to start. This is a pretty significant pike down in the landing. Judges will definitely take off for that there. Something that you'll see throughout this Oregon State vault lineup is, you know, they don't have those 10-0 start value vaults, so they're playing strategically, trying to do those Yurchenko, those 9.95 start value vaults really well to try to keep up with the Crimson Tide.
On the bars, one of the fan favorites, Peyton Walker, probably has the most energy on this team as she gets ready to go on the uneven bars.
You know, in talking with Peyton recently, she has an incredible story, and enough's been said on that. And she's actually had to dial back on this routine. She used to, you know, have an in-bar release, and she's like, I want to get back to that. I think it just speaks to the character that she has, and right on top of the bar with that handstand, just always wanting to get better and find her edge. Gets that landing, starting to tide off strong with the stick. I really love the way she goes over and above what you have to do on that dismount. Her legs are a little bit separated there. I would love them to be parallel with her hips, but that was the only note that I had on that dismount.
Raina Marshall competing on vaults. Vaults and floor the last 2 weeks. She's competed all season long in the floor exercise.
You know, she rushed on the table last week and a little bit rushed, but I think the landing was a lot better in terms of the step being controlled. She kept that front foot cemented to the ground as best she could.
All-around competitor Gabby Gladio next up for Alabama on bars.
She's known for her power on floor exercise and on vault. I think she brings that same power to the uneven bars on this Jaeger right here. Watch her fly all the way down to the low bar on that bail. She's done a really great job of cleaning up the details. So cleaning up the pointed toes and the slight leg separation. Fought for that dismount there. You saw her shoulders were way over and above. She's pushing her momentum forward instead of that chest being up and the stick being seamless. But watch that release combination there. Gorgeous height. And just a little hesitant on that landing.
Savannah Miller. It's a new personal best, pair of 9.775 scores on bars and vaults, plus her exhibition and beam that she had previously. She's been at Oregon State since 2023.
Ooh. A little bit worked with that landing. She had a unique entry on the vault. Would love to, you know, take a look at that again because she starts going backwards, does a half onto the table. And that's where the main issue was. She didn't get remotely any height at all, so she had to rush that top half, but got it on her feet.
Ryan Fuller a week ago matched her season high bar score against Missouri. 9.842.
Ryan is usually a solid competitor for the Crimson Tide, especially on bars. A no-doubter, I like to call, just because you know that you're going to get the same thing every time from Ryan. Watch that hip on the Maloney half. Really nicely done. Just the dismount, double layout. Coach's hands are up in the air. They'll be happy with that. Something that Crimson Tide does well is the uneven bars. They want to carry what they do on bars with the other events. Just because they're able to get those stuck landings one after the next, but haven't really been able to replicate it on the other events.
Sophomores have been outstanding. Peyton Walker and Ryan Fuller already on the bars for Alabama as Cameron Richardson gets set for vault.
Next on vault for Oregon State, Cameron Richardson.
You know, she's the only freshman in the lineup, so says a lot about coach's trust in her athlete to go up and hit in this moment. Yurchenko full. The best execution I've seen thus far in the lineup. She got the best height.
990 on the bars.
Last week she was really crooked on her landing, so great improvement there. And she got good pop off the table.
Next on bars for Alabama, Natalia Pavlov.
Talia Pavlok on bars for the Crimson Tide, a 9-9 last week against Mizzou. Her best bar score here at Alabama.
It's been really impressive to see Natalia's growth just in the last couple weeks. You know, got a season high of a 9-9 last week. And, you know, her coaches say that she has this newfound confidence that she can go up and know that she has it in her back pocket. She's really good at translating what she does in the gym onto the competition. Nice handstand. Needs to find this landing here. Double layout. Not the stick. Again, the last two dismounts, they've had their chests over and above their body. Their momentum is still moving as their feet is hitting the ground, so they have to take that step. Just one of those things that you have to laugh at the end of the day. Laugh it off, I should say, because that was still a great score.
Yeah, Esposito next up on the vault for Oregon State.
She probably has one of the best techniques. Watch the stretch on the flip. You know, she loves that scooch on the landing. Just in watching her the last couple weeks, it's become a little habitual. I think it's almost harder when you know the landing is good, but how can you get good to great? That's what I would love to see from Esposito.
Chloe LaCourcier, this is where she shines. An absolute force to be reckoned with on the bars, a two-time All-American and performed extremely well a week ago.
People forget how mental this sport is. Chloe has been doing gymnastics her entire life, along with all of these athletes that are in this room right now. And just admitting like that she had a mental block. In the summer, she couldn't even do that simple skill of the toe on, toe off. Making this look so easy. I will say her handstands have just been so beautifully executed. Just the dismount. Wow. You could put her routines back to back to back and not be able to tell a difference. She is right on the money every single time. You can really tell that she's put that mental block behind her. She didn't just figure out her swing again. She figured out that she could overcome anything that tries to get in her way.
Tremendous performance by LaCourcier. Over to Buckner, set to go on the vault. Won the event title last week against Utah State.
Another Yurchenko full here. great improvement from last week. There was a bit of a pike down in the landing, but not in that one. Her hips were flared at the end.
Huge roar for the 9.95 for Chloe LaCourcier on the bars.
Are you ready for Alabama's final competitor on bars? It's Azariah Akbar.
Akbar to the bars.
Azariah, she embodies what the Alabama motto of fierce joy is. You know, she was a little bit too focused, Coach said. You know, focus can be a really positive thing, but when you don't balance it with the way that she practices and her play and her childlike love for the sport, you know, it can you can see her putting too much pressure on the moment. So she just needs to play free. Stunning pack salto down to the low bar. Maloney half, effortless. Nothing so far, just needs to get the landing. Really turning the page here for Azariah. She has no built-in deductions. Her technique is so good that the judges don't have anything to take off besides that hop on the landing. And it's such an asset to have somebody that can go 9.9, even with a small hop like that.
Crimson Tide competing in the bars. This has been one of Alabama's best events all throughout the season. Meanwhile, vault's not necessarily a strength for the Beavers.
No, but I don't think that they're letting that phase them in this moment. They came in wanting to win each moment as it comes, and they're doing a great job of that so far. They're going to the floor exercise where they can just let loose, shake off some of those nerves, and ultimately end on the balance beam, which is one of their stronger events.
Jordan Paradise ready for an exhibition on the bars. Has not competed on the bars so far this year, but previously in her career has had a career high of 9.9.
Now Jordan does a really great job of showing off handstands. She did have a moment though where handstands were her Achilles heel, almost not going for them because she was afraid of maybe falling. So I know that's really important here on this routine, showing that she's attacking and going for each handstand. Double layout, scooch on the landing, kind of like how we saw from Azariah. Really nice to see the Crimson Tide taking advantage of the depth that they have, because it's the start of the season now, but come a month from now, bodies get tired. It's all about who can stay in the game, who can handle the hard better, and they're preparing in those exhibition routines for that moment.
Crimson Tide wrapping up one of their best events so far this season, the uneven bars, and that led to some great celebrations. Energy is high right now, Louisa, in Coleman Coliseum. Spring understood the assignment with the neon pink tie. What a gymnastics journey he has had here to Tuscaloosa.
1000%. I mean, Justin Spring has really, he's seen it all from all aspects. Being an athlete himself, Big Ten gymnast of the year, and then being an Olympian. I remember being one of his athletes, preparing for the Olympic Games is just a big part of my journey. Just being there, living it as an athlete, and translating everything that he learned on the competition floor in the best way to his coaching role. Spent so much time at Illinois and created such a culture program there, legacy program, and joined us here in Alabama in 2022, flipping from men's gymnastics to women's, and people don't realize how crazy that actually is. It's like learning a new language. And so the way that he did it and just embraced every aspect of it,
And then both of you shine during the Paris Olympics. You, of course, representing your home country of Colombia. And, of course, Justin on NBC as an analyst, winning an Emmy for his great work.
Funny enough, it was his first gig.
He did an outstanding job for the Crimson Tide and being recognized as one of the Hall of Famers for the CGA this year.
Yeah, the CGA Hall of Fame. The induction ceremony actually happens during the national championship, and you know, it's a toss-up because this team is definitely in contention if they continue the way they do, and you know, athletes continue to stay healthy. Justin is saying, I gotta be there. Like I gotta be there for the national championship. So honored to be a part of that group.
Justin Spring making quite an impact for Alabama here in Tuscaloosa. And then on the other side for Oregon State, a very impactful young lady, Lauren Lesh.
Her story is absolutely incredible. And if you don't know, Lauren, since she was 4 years old, she was diagnosed with a hole in her heart and just never looked back, never let it faze her. She's always been somebody who's been resilient and just from a young age just fell in love with the sport of gymnastics. Funny enough, she told her mom that beam was her least favorite event. She would get mad at her for placing her in gymnastics, and now it's one of the best performing gymnasts on that event. You know, she came out on social media on October 24th, 2024, National POTS Awareness Day. She decided to come out with her diagnosis on social media, and she just wanted to connect with somebody, build a community who knows what it's like, and just sharing her story has not only been life-changing, but incredibly meaningful. She's become an inspiration to so many. After 18 months of not competing, she made her comeback in 2024. And I mean, she can just really teach a masterclass on the balance beam. It's just a story of grit and resilience and passion, you know, from being diagnosed with a hole in her heart from such a young age to dealing with these POTS symptoms while managing the day-to-day of a student athlete and everything in between. Lauren is truly an inspiration to all.
Just a remarkable competitor. Can't wait to see her perform coming up on the balance beam for Oregon State. It's the Crimson Tide and the Beavers tonight in Tuscaloosa. Crimson Tide in front through the first two rotations against Oregon State. Crimson Tide pretty consistent on the bars. 3 scores of at least 9-9. Chloe Corsier taking the event title for Alabama.
This is really an event where the Crimson Tide can, you know, take it and run with it, essentially. They have such a solid beam squad, starting with Jasmine right here, just as a freshman. Very important spot to be on as a leadoff competitor. Not only are you the first one to go, but you're setting the pace for the rest of your team. Double wolf turn to start. A little bit of a balance check there, but covered it well. Acro series back handspring layout, step out. Quick to finish on that landing, really nice, shows full control and full finish of the skill. I love that in watching Jasmine just, you know, work the last couple weeks, you can see that she is fearless. She's so powerful, you can see it in that jump. A little bit too much power there. Had to lift that front leg up. Needs to put that behind her right here on this dismount. Gainer full, small hop. You know, there are a couple bobbles here and there. Definitely wasn't perfect. But the good thing is you can drop a score. Watch right here. She is a little bit off center, and then you want to be in a straight line. She is showing that straight position, but her hips are not facing towards the judges. So it's throwing her off from the get-go.
Elena Vargas first on the floor exercise for Oregon State.
Opening tumbling pass here. It's going to be a run out by handspring, double pike. Really controlled landing, took her time in taking that step. Gorgeous extension on those leaps. Longtime member of the Mexican national team, and you can tell that she's pulling from her roots. Sometimes the athletes, they need to have a why behind everything that they do, and makes it more fun to perform out here when you're pulling from your background, from your roots. Another gorgeous leap pass there. You saw she only did 2 tumbling passes. We're gonna take a look at both of those one more time here. This was the opening. Really good hip action there on the double pike. And so effortlessly takes that step. That's the control you want, but watch this one. She lost height on that second salto. You want to maintain or even be higher. So that is something that the judges will definitely take note of.
Back to the beam for Alabama with Gabby Ladany, tied Chloe LaCourcier for a UA best score on beam a week ago against Missouri, 9-9 back-to-back scores.
One of my favorites in this lineup to watch. Just her style is so captivating. Acro series rate, or just the front aerial to split jump there. I love the way that she just pushes power through her fingers and her finishes. Here she'll set up for her acro series, back handspring, layout, step out. Wow. It's almost like she is slapping the air in her finish. Woo. Break in momentum there. That was supposed to be a combination leap. She's going to have to redo it here. Here we go. Tries to get back on track. Sometimes the athletes have to repeat a skill because they won't receive full credit. Trying to save herself some extra tense there. Puts it on her feet. But pretty uncharacteristic performance from Ladany. We'll watch this again. Almost just dead-legged. Took a second to figure out to repeat the skill, and then just the dismount here, another scooch back.
Now Crabb appearing on the floor for the first time this season for Oregon State. Dad Chris attended Oregon State. She is a business administration major, hopes to be a gymnastics coach and owner of a gym one day.
First tumbling pass here, right handspring to double twist. Would love to see her a little bit more square on those jumps, but great extension in the air. I think seeing these fresh faces in the lineup just shows them that they're ready for change. In talking with Coach this week, she said they've changed so much about this program. They started 29 years ago, and the way that they did things back then is definitely not how they do it now, and they credit a lot of that to the athletes. They evaluate each gymnast individually, invest in them, and you can see it paying off. That was a first for her, and just being able to deliver is incredible. 1.5 to lay out there. Seems to be a theme of losing a little bit of height on that second salto.
Allie Kwame for the Crimson Tide at a career high 9.925 on the beam 2 weeks ago at Florida. That was in front of a hostile crowd down in Gainesville. So much more comfortable feeling competing at home here at Coleman Coliseum for Alabama.
Yeah, and she's somebody that is so calm in her movements. We were talking about it before, but she's had so much growth, not just as an athlete, because she's always been able to compete with such finesse and calmness. So it's what you need, but it's really been her vulnerability. You know, you watch her teammates there, they're locked arm in arm. The stellar aerial to back handspring layout step out there, but you see the love that they have for one another, and it's because, you know, she's been vulnerable. She has the team connection. She can do her best because she knows that her girls are right behind her. So regardless of where you're at, whether you're in Gainesville or you're in Tuscaloosa or you're at the NCAA championship, she can get it done. Gonna finish unique dismount. Front gainer full. First stick of the lineup. Big smiles all around. That's exactly what you need to get the ball rolling, because this hasn't been a characteristic Alabama beam lineup so far. You know, they've been dealing with bobbles. She's been able to cover up mistakes, pivot to the next moment, and wow. I mean, that is a textbook landing right there.
Great work by Alabama's Allie Kwame. Olivia Buckner on the floor for Oregon State.
Really needs to be strong in these tumbling passes. Rudy to straddle jump. Switch half to stag jump. Here, visibly taking breaths, setting up for this next tumbling pass. Punch full to punch full. Not sure if there's a dead spot in the floor, but we've seen 3 Oregon State athletes now either lose height on that second salto, or for Buckner, just completely crumble. Gosh. Watching this one more time, her shoulders, she's just twisting way too early. Her feet are in front of her when that momentum needs to be pushing you forward. And that's why you saw her stop.
Corsier up on the beam for the Crimson Tide after she had a tremendous performance on bars.
Kwame set her up really well with the 9-9. Chloe has a great scoring potential. Again, another one of those athletes that it's hard to find built-in deductions. You can see it through her extension in her legs. They're just so clean. Split jump to stag. So well done. Front aerial, back handspring step out. There's a little bit of hesitation there, but the connection was done one after the next. Really breathing throughout this routine. So important to take it one skill at a time. This can be a really big score for them. She just needs a landing. And she gets it. Round off 1.5 to finish. And based on that little celebration dance, that's how she's happy with that. See, watch how she almost circled her hips before she went into that back handspring step out. Dismount to finish here. Just a dart.
Raina Marshall, consistent presence in the floor lineup all season long for Oregon State.
She'll start with a round-off handspring double back. You know, she tends to hop out of it because of her choreography. There's been a little bit less attention to detail in those landings. Big straddle there. She's gonna go round off 1.5 to finish. Gotta be tight in those legs, and she gets it done. You know, the Beavs just need to clean up their technique on these landings, but after that fall, it's the best that you can do. She went 9.825 last week. Interesting to see, you know, what the judges will do with this week's score. Another look at that opening to double back. She goes 1-2 there and tries to cover it with her dance. And this is how it's supposed to be executed, maintaining that height in the second salto and that layout. Nicely done.
During the routine of Marshall, a judges conference on the balance beam trying to determine the score for Chloe LaCourcier.
And I'll tell you why. It was that acro series I was telling you about. They're probably going back and forth on whether or not they're going to give her credit for it. You could tell that she was working through it, trying to finesse some of the mistakes that were there. Not sure if they're going to give it to her.
How nerve-wracking can that be, waiting on what these judges will decide, and will it help inform how she performs moving forward?
I feel as though when you're in those situations, the best thing that you can do is put it behind you. What's been done is done. As an athlete, you always go up and do your best. You're not going to, you know, compete at half speed. And so she was working with what she had in the moment. I think the most pivotal part comes with the next athlete up.
Crimson Tide hosting Oregon State tonight, and then what a matchup coming up next week against Oklahoma on the SEC Network before being back at home against 8th-ranked Arkansas on February 13th before going to Auburn and LSU. A tricky month of February coming up for the Crimson Tide, mostly on the road. And the score was posted 9.725 for Chloe LaCourcier. Your reaction to that score?
I mean, if they aren't giving her credit for that acro series, it seems a little low. There's just no built-ins in that, but all eyes on Gabby Gladio. Had some boos from the crowd, so needs to really block that out, be tunnel vision on that acro series. You can tell she's doing angry gymnastics right now, throwing her hands in her finish. But it's getting the job done so far. Gabby is such a seasoned veteran that these moments, while they can be frustrating, she knows exactly how to pivot every single time. She has seen it all. Great stretch and extension on both of those leaps there. She's been really good on this round off double twist. Watch this. Yep. I love the way she's able to hone in on that every single time. You know, sometimes athletes overcook that skill because it is more difficult, but not Gabby. Great look on that series there. Nice height, a little rush on the twist, but she gets it done and gets the tide back on track.
Savannah Miller on floor. 9-9 last week on the floor against Utah State.
Does a big opening pass, a front through to double back. Great landing there. Nice lift on that jump. Switch half to Popa. Would love to see the athletes really, you know, give the landing that it deserves. I see them dancing out of it really quickly. I think it can make a difference here in the scores. Just commanding this 1.5 to lay out. And a mic drop moment for Savannah Miller. I really love how she didn't let the outcome of, you know, maybe the first couple people in the lineup dictate her performance. Another look at that last pass. Was ready for that landing, chest was right up.
Ryan Fuller to close Alabama's lineup on the balance beam.
Now, usually we would see Azariah Akbar, Ryan Fuller stepping in. Again, just showing off the depth that they have, not being afraid to switch it up is a great sign. Wow, triple series back handspring layout. Took me by surprise. She usually just does the single layout. That is an upgrade for Ryan. That skill is so impressive. You're doing 3 skills in a row, having to keep the rhythm and staying on 4 inches of the beam. Wow. She's doing a great job stepping in as anchor on this event. Round off 1.5. 2-foot shuffle there at the end, but really floored by the way that she's been able to incorporate difficulty into this beam lineup. Watch this. 1, 2, and 3 gets it done. Had to fight a little bit of a balance check there. Soft knees in the air and the 1-2 shuffle. But great stuff from Fuller.
Pac-12 Freshman of the Year 2 years ago, Sophia Esposito competing tonight against Gabby Gladio in the all-around.
No back handspring needed on that first pass. You don't see that often, only with the strongest of athletes. a wink there to set up this last pass. She'll go layout to Rudy. I mean, it's gonna be really hard to find something to take. That was so clean, so well executed. I just need to take a second to acknowledge this right here. There is no back handspring. She goes directly into the double pike and gets the same amount of height as any other athlete would who adds another skill before that. Smiles and dances right out of it. Definitely the best performance for the Beavs so far.
Look forward to seeing that score for Sophia Esposito. Kenzie Matters will have an exhibition for the Crimson Tide on balance beam, one of the talented freshmen on this Alabama roster.
Exciting to see Mackenzie Matters on beam. You know, we've only seen her on floor thus far this season. I just love her attitude and her approach and her movements. Very nice on that front toss. Back handspring layout, step out. Wow, she has ice running through her veins. No reaction whatsoever after hitting a near perfect routine so far. All she's got is the dismount, back handspring to 1.5 twist. Almost think you might have want to put that one in the lineup with the way things shaped up to be. I know Matters will be so thrilled to have made a statement like that. Watch this acro series, bam. Just completely in control. I think just cleaning up the softness in the legs is something that, you know, this Crimson Tide team could really benefit from, just getting a 1/2 tenth here and there, but great finish.
Great exhibition for Matters. Another exhibition coming up on floor for Taylor DeVries of Oregon State.
Round off 2.5, very impressive, a little bit under rotated on that landing. But great way to get out there and get another one under your belt. Round off 1.5 to punch full. I think soft knees in the air has been maybe a point of emphasis for all of the athletes. And then very difficult pass to end with is a 2.5 twist. You don't see the landing and she gets it on her feet. Just love watching both teams just take a big sigh of relief. I know they haven't really been putting up the perfect performance, but I think they're just leaning on each other in these moments and finding ways to grow. I think that's what you need going into your last event. Just put it all out there, forget everything that just happened, and do the now.
Exciting times coming up in the SEC, including on Sunday with a 11th ranked Auburn versus number 8 Georgia matchup. And next Friday, Georgia and Arkansas, Alabama and Oklahoma may be the headliner we see on this entire graphic, along with the Gators and the Sooners in a few weeks. Outstanding gymnastics on the way. 3 rotations in the books tonight here in Tuscaloosa. It's the Crimson Tide with the advantage against Oregon State. Just 1 rotation to go at Coleman Coliseum between Alabama and Oregon State in a top 25 showdown. Crimson Tide maintaining the lead throughout the night, grew the lead thanks to some solid scores on beam. Gabby Gladio tying a season high with a 9-9 in Alabama's last event.
And they needed it because it was a very uncharacteristic rotation for the Crimson Tide, but a standout for me was Kylie Kwame. I mean, what a way to stop the bleeding. Midway, textbook performance from beginning to end. And then another, I mean, it's no surprise here, but Gabby Gladio just knows how to get the job done. There's been so many times where this team has needed her, and she's there for them every single time.
Oregon State will be next up on the balance beam, while Alabama will be on the floor. Speaking of Gabby Gladio, the lead against Sophia Esposito for the all-around title, and we're getting ready for Gladio on the floor, which is always electric.
She definitely knows how to light Coleman up. I think the most important thing when you are an all-arounder is just not putting too much pressure on the moment. Like, yes, gymnastics is an individual sport, but once you get to the college level, it's all about doing it for the person in front of you, doing it for your teammates. And if I could bet money on it, Esposito and Gladio, they're not thinking about themselves right now. They want to put everything that's happened in the past and focus on the now.
Heading into rotation for Oregon State, tied for 16th in the nation on the beam. Meanwhile, this is where the Crimson Tide really shine. 3rd in the nation with a 49.383 on the floor.
It's all about carrying momentum. The Tide does it really, really well. They just have electric choreography that naturally gets you amped up. Then they have the tumbling to back it up. They bring difficulty, finesse in their skills, control in their landings. You really want to watch that front foot when these athletes are competing. You want it to be glued to the ground. Something that you want to look for in these next 6 routines that are coming up.
Rotation 4 is coming up in Tuscaloosa between Alabama and Oregon State. Oregon State here inside Coleman Coliseum on Neon Night. Everyone's really gotten in the act here in Tuscaloosa.
You can't forget about the Bama dads. They were all wearing YMCA, just a tradition that continues to keep on growing here at Alabama. It's nice to see the parents get involved too. You know, they watch their kids. Half of them are probably, you know, nervous out of their minds, but wearing the shirt and doing the dance, it's got to help with the nerves.
All part of what's been a good night here inside Coleman Coliseum. Oregon State will be on the balance beam. Ashley Johnston, the head coach for the Crimson Tide, has been talking with the judges really all throughout the change in events for Alabama and Oregon State. I imagine most of her conversation focused on the 9.725 we saw scored for Chloe Lacourcier.
Well, you know, this is a fun fact for our viewers out there. Ashley Johnston is actually a judge, an international world-renowned judge, and she knows technique because she's studied it. She has been in the judges' shoes, and she is one to fight and advocate for her athletes. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, fighting tooth and nail for everything. I think where the question is coming in is because she was able to finesse the connection. She didn't show a visible break. But again, we can only assume this is what they're talking about. These moments are pivotal, I have to add, because in a championship setting, they take the 6th score. And if this is the one that is counting, it could be the difference between making it to a national championship, winning a national championship. So I think that's why these judges conferences, coaches advocating for the athletes is, you know, what we're seeing more of nowadays.
Everything matters for the national qualifying score as Esposito gets going on the balance beam for Oregon State. Rotation 4 underway.
You know, she has a triple series right there. So good. You know, she struggled with, you know, silly bobbles on this skill right here. Not this week. Very pretty leaps. You can tell that she likes doing combinations and triple series there, that leap connection, the switch leap to split jump, to switch split. Incredibly difficult. As well as the dismount round off double twist to finish. Certainly happy with that landing, getting her team started off on the right foot. Another look. Really clean, a little bit of, you know, again, just soft ankles and legs in the air. But Coach happy with her efforts there.
And now to the floor exercise, leading off Chloe LaCourcier for the Crimson Tide. The music set to Hamilton, and the room where it happens, Coleman Coliseum.
This event specifically last week is kind of where things went south for the Crimson Tide, so wanting to flip the script here and just start out with the bang. Opening pass, run up against ring, double back. Just gorgeous on that switch ring. Front layout to Rudy. Wow, that's been the best it's been all season. Similarly to like Oregon State. Sometimes she cuts off that second salto, but not today. And seen. Really good start for Alabama on floor. We obviously want to take another look at that first tumbling pass. So smooth, keeps that front foot down. And then the 1.5 to stag jump. Executed to perfection.
(9.8) for Olivia Buckner last week on the beam.
Big test right here for Buckner. Back handspring, layout, step out. Really appreciate the way she's smiling through this entire routine. Split jump to stag. Another one of those skills that's so impressive because you have to take your eyes off the beam and know exactly where you are and where to land. Side aerial right on the money. Back handspring, 1.5 Really clean landing there. I really appreciate the way that this OSU team is making small improvements week after week. Last week on the dismount, there was a little bit of off balance, but you can see her hips are really square there. Only just has to take a tiny hop to the side, but it won't cost her too much.
Ra Akbar next up on floor for Alabama. You heard the cheers during that last routine. Chloe LaCourcier with a career high 9.925 on the floor. Great way to get it started for Alabama on the floor exercise.
Just show-stopping on that first tumbling pass. Switching to switch half, very nicely done. Let's be patient on this round off 1.5 layout. Just love the way her hips flare out. She gets the height that she needs. And she can just relish in this moment. Has to stay down on that double wolf, and she does. And this is where Coleman really lights up. The crowd speaks for itself. Azarea definitely happy with that. I got the chance to talk with her last week, and she just, you know, you can see it all over her face. It's not the performance that she wanted, not what she expected. I told her, you're gonna have so many of these moments. And just, what a turnaround. From just 7 days ago. Wow.
Daily Cheek on the balance beam for Oregon State. Bars and beam lineup each week to begin her freshman season. 9.25 for Ra Akbar.
I think it took both of our breath away there, Roger. The biggest thing for Kaylee right now is when you have a crowd like this in Coleman Coliseum, it's being able to drown out the noise and just know that you are the only thing that matters in these 90 seconds that you're on the balance beam. Kaylee's another one of those freshmen that Coach speaks so highly of, coming in from the get-go, making an impact. Back handspring gainer full to finish. There's a little bit of a pike down on that landing. Solid finish for the freshman there.
For Alabama on floor, already great scores by LaCourcier and Ra Akbar. And now for the first time this season, Rachel Rybicki competing for the Crimson Tide on floor.
Rachel has been waiting for this moment, just dealing with some frustrating, you know, lower back pain and being competitive, but just not being able to crack into that lineup. She finally had a good warm-up, and here she is now. Round off back handspring, double back. Surely having fun out there. Was such a key piece in last year's floor lineup. And just the polish, you can see that she's a difference maker. Not only is she a senior, she's done this before, but she just continues to get better and better every year. Final tumbling pass, round out back handspring. The round off 1.5 punch full, I should say. What an incredible finish for Rybicki on the floor. You know, she had to wait all night to do that. Staying warm, being present for your teammates, and being able to deliver like this. Another look at that double back. A tad bit off in the hips, but did a great job covering. Won't be a significant deduction in just that final pass. No issues on height there. Great job for Rybicki.
Rachel Rybicki's back for Alabama. Mia Heather on the balance beam for Oregon State had a career high 9-9 last week against Utah Valley.
I love this series. Front toss to swing down. With the way they have been judging acro series, not sure if they'll completely give it. There was a small break. She'll set up nicely for this switch half to beat jump. Some tiny bobbles there, not truly finishing the skill. Needs to be really centered in these next jumps here. Certainly what stands out to me this entire time has been her toe point. Finishes the routine pretty well. Esposito's there, big smile. Yeah, just super impressed with, you know, her polish and how she was able to execute. Watch this toe point. Just even going into the dismount in her step. Just the little details that really make the difference there.
Nothing but 9.925s for the Crimson Tide so far on floor as Jasmine Colley begins her routine. Alabama could be headed towards a great score on the floor to close out this meet.
Jasmine is dynamite on this event. Great execution, got those leaps all the way around. Round off 1.5 punch layout. Got great distance. She certainly doesn't compete like a freshman. You can see it in her confidence, the way she even finishes the routine. Head coach Ashley Johnson says that freshmen, when they come in, they aren't here to be bench warmers. She credits a lot of, you know, that idea and that buy-in to the seniors who have really put in the work and pouring into the younger classes here. Certainly not any bench warmer energy welcome here.
Talked about Lauren Lech earlier. Now here she is on the balance beam.
Just truly taken aback with the way she has been able to respond in such a positive way to the things that life has thrown her way. She talks about how she remembers some days, you know, from the parking lot to the grocery store, walking through, you know, her living room. It was hard. There were days where she couldn't do it. And now she's on a balance beam, absolutely conquering that beautiful split ring. You know, there was no question for Lauren in coming back to Oregon State for her 5th year. She knew she had unfinished business. And while she can only do beam nowadays, she does it so well. And is just a staple in this lineup. Just watch this right here. Beautiful ring position that she makes. Would love to see her, that front leg be a little bit more close, more horizontal.
Next on the floor for Alabama,
just a dismount to finish. Impressive work from Lauren.
Jamison Sears for the Crimson Tide has had at least a 9.9 each floor exercise so far this year, including last week, matched a career high 9.925 against Missouri.
Jamison does such a great job of warming up. I just couldn't take my eyes off of her before the meet started because of this skill right here. Massive double layout to start. Oh my goodness. I mean, I truly just swoon over those leaps every time because nobody goes that far out, that extended, but she does. Just needs to put this last pass on her feet. Her teammate set her up for a gigantic score. Wow. That was a no question, no deduction landing. Simply perfection. And it's just a normal day for Jamison Sears. This is her normal all the time. Insanity on the double layout. Watch the height on those leaps and gets it around. And then that front foot is just cemented, absolutely glued. She works out of that.
Now back to the balance beam for a final time with Ellie Weaver competing for Oregon State.
That double wolf turn with the arms up, it's a different technique, but just takes my breath away because your center of gravity and your hips need to be so on the money. Back handspring, layout step out. Slight bobble, most likely won't get credit for that connection. From aerial, seems to be working through these balance checks. Now she cut the round off last week. See if she can get it around. Gets the stick for the beeves as the anchor competitor. Other than that switch leap break, this back handspring layout, step out, that was very well executed. It was a nice routine overall.
Jamison Sears hit a 9.950. Now it's time for one of the best in the nation, Gabby Gladio.
Gabby really is the full package when it comes to this event right here. She's so captivating. She has springs in her feet. The question is whether or not she can contain her power and really lock into those small details, because that's what they've been getting her on so far. Is absolutely electric. Helps when you have nearly 10,000 people in the stands cheering for your every movement. Very nice lift on that leap combination. Be a layout to Rudy. There was a small struggle there on that last jump, the split jump to the end. But just gorgeous work, even with the small mistake. Virtually nothing to take other than that. First pass here. I was left with no words watching that in real time. So good. And just stellar lift on those leaps. That was really the only question mark in the entire routine, so won't be the perfect 10 that I know that she's looking for. But her standard is just so high that even a little bit off is still gonna be an incredibly high score.
$9.950 for Gabby Gladio. Once again, a great performance as she gets closer and closer to that 10.
There's something about the build-up before getting that perfect score that makes it that much sweeter.
Lena Vargas on beam for Oregon State. This is an exhibition for the Beavers.
Nice acro series there, just a little bit of a bobble, but was able to get it back squared. Split jump to split ring. I love how this team is really going for the unique jumps, showing off beautiful, beautiful positions. Love the floatiness of her arms, the style in which she moves, and the gainer full to finish. What a special moment for those exhibition routines. Getting out there, sometimes maybe even for the first time. Another look at this dismount here. Really kicks that leg to get some power and momentum and does a great job.
Alabama will have an exhibition on floor exercise with Love Burt. Missed all of last year with injury. Did have 2 exhibition routines against Missouri last week, including a 9.725 on floor.
very clean on that double wolf turn to open this routine up. And now it's just enjoying it from here. Very big double layout. Lovebert did her club career and her international elite career at First State Gymnastics, produced incredible talent like Morgan Hurd, and even a fellow Alabama alum, Cameron Machado. Front Florida, front layout there. She just has a great foundation with her gymnastics. It's so clean and so entertaining to watch. She had the opportunity to exhibition last week as well. I was talking to head coach Ashley Johnson before the meet started, and she's just so excited about these 7, 8, 9 spots in these lineups that are always just ready to get thrown into the mix. No questions asked, and Love is definitely one of those athletes who's ready to step into that moment when the time comes.
Crimson Tide, what a score on floor. 49.675, tied for 6th for the highest score in program history. Rounding out with Jamison Sears, Gabby Gladio with 9.950s. Alabama performed at such a high level on floor just then.
They wanted to go out with the bang. I think it is clear from the start that it wasn't the meet that they anticipated. But moving from what was a chaotic rotation on beam, even the judges conference happening, not letting it seep into the next event, was a test for them tonight. And at the end of the day, coach was really pushing that message of being relentless in the pursuit of being present. So it wasn't necessarily holding on to everything that happened in the meet, but finishing strong.
Crimson Tide did that tonight, picking up the win against Oregon State to improve to 3-1 on the season. Ashley Johnston will join us next here in Tuscaloosa. Coliseum, where the Alabama Crimson Tide can celebrate a win over Oregon State. 197-375, Alabama's final score, 195-775 for the Beavers. Back inside Coleman Coliseum, this is Roger Huber, pleased to be joined by Luisa Blanco once again. And Luisa, what a meet we saw, especially the way Alabama closed out this meet on the floor exercise.
It's so ironic because you take 7 days ago, floor wasn't their finest moment. It's where they wanted to find those points of, you know, becoming excellent, becoming resilient, and now putting up a score like that, one of the top floor scores in the nation with that 49.675, definitely shows them that they haven't reached their ceiling, and they did a great job of really tossing everything that they did in the meet because it did not go as planned. They left it all on the floor.
Jamison Sears and Gabby Gladio closing it out with 9.50s for the Crimson Tide, 9.950s. And it all started with Chloe LaCourcier.
I think it was just a building of momentum, knowing that each gymnast was doing it for the next girl stepping up. Just gigantic tumbling passes from people like Jamison Sears, who just continue to show up week after week for the Tide and get better. Gabby Gladio is just electric to watch, putting another exclamation point to this floor lineup, and they're not done yet.
Not done yet, and next up, Oklahoma coming up next week. But tonight, Alabama's a winner against Oregon State. That's all from Tuscaloosa. For our analyst, Luisa Blanco, and our hardworking SEC Network crew, I'm Roger Huber saying so long from Tuscaloosa as Alabama defeats Oregon State on Friday Night Heights.